Hey there, landscape designer. I'm Charlene Gray. Welcome to Landscape Elevation, where I talk about all things landscape design, geared toward those of you who are landscape design entrepreneurs, whether you're just getting started in your side hustle or you've been in business for years. I hope the things I talk about resonate with you and are helpful to you on your journey as a landscape designer. Today, I'm going to show you how I import my hand-drawn concept diagrams into Vectorworks Landmark. This is the second video in a series of 4. In the first video, I showed you how I create a base map in Vectorworks using digital drawing files that I received from a surveyor and an architect. So from that file, I print that base map onto paper, and I usually use 11 by 17 or 24 by 36 printed sheets. And then I use that printed base map as a physical and visual base that's taped to my drafting table. That's my drafting table. Okay. And then I lay sketch paper over the base and I play around with different layouts and ideas. So using a black pen and colored markers, I make a mess, and then it all kind of comes together into different concepts. So the one I'm going to show you, so I was feeling super creative because I got 3 concepts out of the deal. Sometimes I can only squeeze out 2, but that was a good day. So in a minute, I'll show you the concepts and what I do with them once I import them into Vectorworks. But first, perhaps you're wondering why I even bother to import my hand-drawn concepts into Vectorworks, and I have 2 reasons. So one is I like to create presentation quality digital documents to show my clients. If you're familiar with my design process, which you can find actually as a free download on my website, landscapeelevation.com, you'll know that I like to show my clients a few hand-drawn concept layout options before we dive into a full-blown master plan. This saves me time, but it also gets clients to realize more about their own wants and needs when they have a visual to look at and discuss with you. So it shortens the process for you getting things right, something that they'll like. So now the reason why it is super helpful for me to have digital documents is because most of my clients aren't in the residence I'm doing the design for during the winter months. And winter is when I do most of my design work. So I need to be able to either email my drawings to clients and or meet with them on Zoom and present drawings to them on Zoom. So even though there are times when I meet with clients in person and show them physical documents, even those, even after an in-person meeting, they usually still like to have a digital document that they can pull up on their phone anytime and show people and whatever. So anyway, I show clients a few concepts that were relatively quick for me to produce, and that gets the ball rolling into the direction we're going to head with their final design. Sometimes they'll pick one concept, but more often they'll pick ideas from multiple concepts, and then I make one last and final concept plan based on their favorite ideas and layouts. So after that, once I've received the client's feedback and I've produced a final concept plan, then, and this is the second reason why I bother doing these imports into digital, then I take that final concept plan and I trace over it with the Vectorworks drawing tools. So I turn my design into an easily editable document that can be used for construction drawings and a bidding package. And I'll show you this in the third video. But for now, in this second video, here is how I import my concepts and make a presentation package of my hand-drawn concepts. Okay, so here's where I left off in the last video. I created this base map to print and put on my drafting table and hand draw concepts on top of. So in this video, I'll show you how I import the concepts. I have 3 of them, and we'll also create a presentation package, a PDF package. So first thing I'll do is create the new layers. So the first one is going to be concept import A, concept import B, and concept import C. And I like to change the order of these in the dialog box. Okay, so let's make A the active design layer. That's where I want the first one coming into. So file, import, PDF. Now I originally scanned each of these concepts as a JPEG because in my experience, and this may not be the case anymore, but JPEGs scanned with higher resolution than a PDF. So what I do is I scan as a JPEG and then I export as a PDF because the PDFs come into Vectorworks with more options, such as changing the opacity, and they come in with geometric points that you can pull from. So first thing I'll do is turn off that black border of the pen. I don't need to do that. So just to show you the opacity, so this comes in at 100%, and if I change this sliding scale over here, say to 50, so you can see how it, if I wanted to show this in the background of something else, I could change the opacity. And I'm not finding that that's possible to do with a JPEG. Okay, so let's see, this was drawn at 1/16 equals 1 inch scale, and that is currently what my drawing is set for. And let's see, so I'll first scale this, and one important thing to note is always put a scale bar on your hand-drawn documents so that when you import them, you can scale according to that bar without having to guess. So let's scale that. Modify, scale objects. And so the distance between that bar and that bar is 10 feet. And now my drawing is larger, which is good. So I forgot to mention the sheet size. So this should be formatted for 11/17, and I'm just going to double check my page setup, and it is formatted for 11/17, and that's the correct printer, and the paper size is correct. It doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter if you're printing. If you're only giving this presentation digitally, your page could be really any size. But the bigger the page size, the larger the file. So one thing that makes a hand-drawn drawing look more professional is to have really neat text. And while I'm not worried about this text, you know, my concept sketchy looking text, but I am going to make a nicer looking title block. So this title block is just, that was just for me, you know, at my drafting desk. I'm gonna cover that over and make a text title block right now. One thing I do wanna do is copy that north arrow while I'm here. So over in my tool set palette, I'm going to go to the measure set and find the north arrow. And I'm gonna copy that north arrow direction. Okay, so that when I cover over this, I know where I was. Okay, so first I'm going to make a white rectangle to get rid of that messy writing of mine. And the default is to give that a border, but I don't need that to have a border, that white block that's blocking out my messy writing. But I am going to make my own box here, say that big, and change the thickness of the border so it looks a little official. And inside that box is where I'm going to type the information about this particular sheet. So first I'll write the client's name, the town where their property is, the drawing title. So this is the driveway specifically, the driveway concept A, drawn by my initials, CSG, and the date is, I'll say, January 1st, 2026. And I'll need to write the scale on here. 1/16 of an inch equals 1 foot 0 inches. Okay. Now to accompany that typewritten scale, I want to add a scale bar. So over in my tool set, right under the north arrow, there is the scale bar. Place that, change it so it's not so ridiculous looking. Doesn't need to be that tall, and I don't need that many segments. That's fine. So I'll put that there. Pull my north arrow in, and I'm going to doctor this up a little, make that bold and larger. That's big. And I'll make that bold and that bold. Okay. It looks to me like, so okay, let's just see how this looks right now. I'm going to hit Command P on my Mac, shortcut to the print dialog box, and I'm going to open it up in preview. So this is what a PDF of just what I've done so far would look like. And the positioning of the drawing itself is okay. I could move it up a little bit, but I may not. The title block, you can see the bottom of that is, the bottom of my box is off the sheet. So I'm going to fix that, and I'm going to tidy up that box a little bit. So first I'm going to move that up. And shrink it a little. Whoops. There. We'll just keep that like that for now. Okay, so the other thing, the last little thing I want to change about this concept is I want to make sure that these vertical and horizontal lines are parallel and perpendicular with the edges of the sheet, but also any other hard lines that I have. And this box that I made is a hard line. So highlight this, and then I'm going to rotate it so that it's not all wonky. There. Okay, now let's check this real quick. Command P, open in preview. All right, looks good to me, I think. So, all right, so there's concept A. Now I want to, now in order to do my whole batch print later, I need to turn this drawing into a sheet layer. So I'm going to head up to View, Create Viewport, and create on a new sheet layer. It's going to be sheet number 1, and I'm titling it Concept A. And everything else looks good. And so now, over in my Object Info palette, on the 3rd tab, I have the sheets. And so I don't know why, but for some reason when things come over into the sheets, they shift up. So if I hit Command P now, you can see it's way higher than it was before. So I need to move that down. Not a big deal. Just slide it down. Command P, make sure I like the look of it. All right, looks pretty good. I'm sticking with it. All right, so back to my design layers. So there's my concept A. Now, let's move on to B, and these will be a lot quicker, I promise. So the first thing I need to do is over my layer options, change that to active only so that I'm only looking at the active layer. Okay, so now when I click on concept import B, A is not there. So first thing I want to do is highlight all of concept A, and I want to hit Command D to duplicate that. Did that happen? I can't tell. Okay. And I'm going to move that over in the object info palette over to B. Whoops. I did not do it. All right. Put that back in A. Go back to A. Highlight. All right, here's what I'm going to do. Command G to group it, and then Command D to duplicate. Did I do it? Yes, I did. Okay, so that second one, while it's highlighted, move that right over to concept B layer, and then go into the concept B layer. Ungroup it, so Command U. Delete that, because that's not concept B. Change just the A to B in your title block. And now file import the PDF of your concept B. And there's that. So, I forgot to say this before. Command L to turn that 90 degrees. Change the scale. And place that. Oh yeah, so it's going over the title block, so that's easy. With that, just the import highlighted, modify, send to back, and it went behind that title block and the white box that I made to cover up some of my handwriting. It does have that automatic, because I didn't change it in the class, it comes in with that solid pen, so I'll just get rid of that. Now let's see how this looks. If I do Command P, open in preview, looks good. I'm gonna see what it looks like over in a sheet layer. Okay, so I'm all good with concept B, and I'm gonna do the same thing I did before to make this a sheet layer. View, create viewport, create on layer, it's gonna be a new layer, new sheet layer. The sheet title is going to be Concept B. And I'm all good. So now over in my sheet layers, there's Concept A and there's Concept B. Now you can see it shifted itself up again, so I'm just going to shift that down a little bit. Hit Command P, see what it looks like. Looking good. I did not change the orientation of this Concept B, rotate it, because it actually looks pretty good. It doesn't look as wonky as Concept A did. Okay, so that's Concept B. Now I'm going to do the same thing for Concept C. So I'm going to highlight everything, group it, Command G, and then I'm going to duplicate it, Command D. And then with that new duplication, move that over into Concept Import C in the sheet layers, design layers. And then that can stay like that. Switch over to Concept C import. There that is. Ungroup it, Command U. Delete the actual concept, because I have a new one coming in. Change Concept B to Concept C. And file import PDF Concept C. And Command L turns that 90 degrees a few times. See the black pen around it? I'm going to turn that off first so I don't forget. No pen. Now I'm going to scale it. Modify scale. bigger. Oops. Slide that over onto the sheet about where I need it. Send it to back because it's in front of my title block. And you can see some of my sketches. So I'm just gonna highlight that white box and make it bigger. There, covered up that little mess. And let's see, Command P, look at the PDF. I think that looks pretty good, and I don't think I need to rotate this one at all. The lines actually look okay. Okay, so Command Save. All right. Oh, one thing I do very often is I hit Command S to save my file all the time. Okay, now I'm gonna change this into a sheet layer. So go up to View, Create Viewport, Create on Layer, New Sheet Layer, Sheet 3, and this is Concept C. Hit OK, and everything else looks good. And if I head over to my sheet layers, here is sheet layer, sheet, sheet 3, Concept C. Again, it's high, so I'm going to move it down. And hit Command P, just double check it. Looks good. Okay, so now I have all 3 of my sheets. Whoa, what happened here? Oh, hold on, I moved something. All right, let me go back to that sheet, the design layer. Why is that bugging out? I don't know what happened. Let's see if that fixed it. I have to make it taller. My white box moved or something. Okay. All right, we're good. So now, over in my sheet layer, oh, now the whole thing moved. Jeepers. All right, let's check these again. So sheet A, sheet B, and 3. All right, yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to go File, Publish. So I have all my sheets ready to roll. And I get this dialog box. I highlight, move it over, highlight sheet 2, move it over, highlight sheet 3, move it over. And if you needed to see what these say, you can slide these. There, make sure I'm getting my concept A, B, and C. And now I hit Publish. And yes, I suppose. So I'm going to call this Smith Concept Presentation and the date. And then actually, I like to put my name too, C. Gray. And hit OK. Oh, seriously? Smith Concept Presentation 1/1/26 and C. Gray. Save. Okay, so now here is the PDF that I can send to my clients via email. So I have Concept A, Concept B, and Concept C. So I have a professional looking digital document with all 3 hand-drawn concepts of their driveway layout. And then we have our Zoom meeting, or we go back and forth via email, talking about what they like about each of these concepts and what they don't like about each of the concepts, or maybe they like one in particular. So we go from there. So this is just a step in the design process that gets me on the same page as them with what they're thinking for their landscape. Okay, so that is how I import hand-drawn concepts into Vectorworks Landmark and create a digital presentation package out of them to share with my clients. So next week I'll spill the third Vectorworks demo video and I'll show you how I trace over the final concept to create a working digital document out of my hand-drawn design. So thank you so much for joining me and watching Landscape Elevation. If this demo was helpful to you, please let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, etc. And also, I, in general, just love hearing from folks in the landscape design community. If you're a landscape designer and you have questions or a conversation to start, please share them in the comments, or you can reach out to me from my website, landscapeelevation.com, where you can find both of my free PDF guides I've created to help you in your landscape design journey. So I have the example client questionnaire and also my 5 steps to prepare for a successful landscape design. Thank you again. Take care, and I hope you have a great week.